What just happened to Jungkook? And why can't the internet stop talking about it? It started like any other release day. Anticipation had already been building for weeks, subtle hints scattered across social media, cryptic visuals, and whispers from insiders suggesting that something different, something bold, was coming. But even with all the speculation, no one was truly prepared for what unfolded the moment the Hooligan visuals dropped. Because this wasn't just another music video. This wasn't just another concept. This was a moment, and within minutes, it went viral. Clips of Jungkook in the now infamous Hooligan scene flooded every platform imaginable. Fans replayed it over and over again, trying to process what they had just seen. Non-fans, people who had never followed BTS closely, suddenly found themselves pulled into the conversation, asking the same question echoing across timelines worldwide. What did Jungkook just do? The scene itself wasn't long. In fact, its power came from how quickly it hit and how deeply it lingered. The lighting was dim, almost cinematic in a way that felt more like a film than a typical music video. Shadows danced across Jungkook's face, highlighting expressions that felt raw, intense, and completely unfiltered. This wasn't the polished, carefully controlled image many had grown used to. This was something else, something unpredictable, something dangerous. As the beat pulsed in the background, Jungkook leaned forward, his gaze sharp, almost piercing through the screen. There was a moment, a split second, where everything seemed to pause. And then it happened. A movement. A look. A shift in energy that was impossible to ignore. It wasn't just performance. It felt personal. And that's what made it explode. Within hours, hashtags related to Hooligan began trending globally. Fan edits multiplied at an unbelievable rate, each one zooming in on that specific scene, analyzing every detail. The way his expression changed, the subtle tension in his posture, the almost defiant confidence radiating from him. People weren't just watching it, they were studying it, because something about it didn't feel accidental. It felt intentional, calculated. Like Jungkook knew exactly what he was doing. And that realization only made the moment even more powerful. Reactions poured in from every corner of the world. Some fans described the scene as shocking, others called it addictive, and many admitted they couldn't stop thinking about it. But beyond the emotional responses, there was a deeper layer to the conversation. A shift in perception. For years, Jungkook has been known as the Golden Magne, the youngest member of BTS who seemed to excel at everything he touched. Singing, dancing, performing. He did it all with a level of precision and dedication that earned him admiration not just from fans, but from industry professionals as well. But Hooligan wasn't about perfection. It was about breaking it. The viral scene became a symbol of that transformation. It represented a version of Jungkook that was no longer confined by expectations, no longer defined by the roles he had played in the past. Instead, it showcased an artist who was fully aware of his influence and unafraid to use it. And that realization sent shockwaves through the industry. Because when an artist at Jungkook's level decides to shift direction, it doesn't just affect their own career. It changes the landscape. Music critics began weighing in, highlighting the artistic risks taken in Hooligan and praising the boldness of its execution. Some pointed out the darker themes, the more aggressive tone, and the way the visuals challenged traditional K-pop aesthetics. Others focused on the performance itself, noting how Jungkook's presence in that viral scene felt more like a statement than a showcase. He wasn't trying to impress, he was trying to express, and that difference mattered. Meanwhile, fans continued to dissect every frame. Theories emerged about hidden meanings, symbolic elements, and potential connections to future projects. Was this a one-time concept, or the beginning of a new era? Was the Hooligan persona something Jungkook would continue to explore, or was it simply a glimpse into a side of himself that had always been there, waiting to be revealed? No one knew for sure. But that uncertainty only fueled the excitement. The viral nature of the scene wasn't just driven by shock value. It was driven by curiosity. People wanted to understand it, to interpret it, to make sense of why it resonated so strongly. And the more they watched it, the more questions they had. Industry insiders began to take notice. Conversations that had once centered around charts and numbers now shifted toward artistry and impact. Hooligan wasn't just performing well, it was creating dialogue. And in today's music landscape, that's more valuable than ever. Because virality isn't just about views, that it's about engagement, that it's about the ability to capture attention and hold it, to create moments that people feel compelled to share, discuss, and revisit. And Jungkook had done exactly that. The scene became a benchmark almost overnight. Other artists, producers, and creatives began referencing it in discussions about current trends, pointing to its success as evidence that audiences are ready for something different, something more raw, more authentic, more daring. But perhaps the most fascinating aspect of all was how effortlessly Jungkook seemed to carry it. There was no sense of hesitation in his performance. No sign that he was stepping outside his comfort zone. If anything, it felt like the opposite. It felt like he had finally stepped into it. And that authenticity was impossible to fake. As days passed, the momentum showed no signs of slowing down. The Hooligan scene continued to dominate conversations, appearing in reaction videos, analysis breakdowns, and even mainstream media coverage. It became more than just a moment. It became a cultural reference point, something people could point to and say, this is where things changed. And maybe they were right, because moments like this don't happen often. Moments where an artist doesn't just release content, but creates something that resonates on a deeper level, something that challenges perceptions and redefines expectations. Jungkook didn't just go viral, that he made an impact, and the ripple effect of that impact is still unfolding. Fans who had followed his journey from the beginning found themselves seeing him in a new light, not as the youngest member or the all-rounder, but as an artist with a distinct voice and vision. Someone who was no longer just part of a group identity, but a force in his own right. And for new listeners, Hooligan became an entry point, a reason to pay attention, a moment that sparked interest and led them down the rabbit hole of Jungkook's artistry. The scene that started it all, brief, intense, unforgettable, continued to be shared, analyzed, and celebrated. It became a symbol of transformation, of risk, of creative freedom. And perhaps that's why it resonated so deeply. Because in a world where so much content feels repetitive, predictable, and safe, Hooligan stood out. It took a risk, and it paid off. But the story doesn't end here, because the real question isn't just what Jungkook did, it's what he's going to do next. If Hooligan is any indication, the answer is clear. He's not holding back. He's not playing it safe. He's not following expectations. He's creating his own path. And if that path leads to more moments like this, more scenes that capture the world's attention and refuse to let go, then one thing is certain. This is only the beginning. The viral moment that shocked the internet wasn't just a highlight. It was a signal, a sign that Jungkook has entered a new phase of his career, one defined not by what people expect from him, but by what he chooses to show. And right now, the world is watching, closer than ever, waiting, because after Hooligan, one thing is clear. You never really know what Jungkook is going to do next, and that's exactly why you can't look away.